And we return here on our High Beam with our Talk with the Doc, Dr. Tim McKnight, who's busily working on his practice, Fit for Life class. I don't know, taking care of yourself too, I hope.
Yeah, a lot of things.
And talking about this morning, a natural hormone with multiple positive effects. This list goes on and on and on. I'm anxious to find out.
Pretty amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so I gave you a little teaser on it. And let me give you one more teaser. So there's this one lifestyle habit that many of us have developed that increases our risk for cancer, insulin resistance, which is actually what we believe is the primary risk factor for cancer now. So with insulin resistance, you gain belly fat, your risk of many cancers goes up, weight gain goes up, heart disease risk goes up, obesity goes up, and appetite goes up. So this one lifestyle habit is sleep deprivation.
Which we talked about just a couple of weeks ago.
We've talked about that. So Mother Nature, or probably better put, in the words of my grandfather, the grand architect of the universe, has developed a way to help us fight those conditions, because if we were that vulnerable, we would have never survived as humans as long as we have. So there's checks and balances and protective measures that have been designed in our bodies to help us get good sleep. And we've talked about this, but I wanted to talk about it again because there's a lot of things to think about when we talk about melatonin. So melatonin is the answer to all those teasers I gave you. And we make melatonin in our brain. We've talked about this. Natural sunlight stimulates it, and the withdrawal or the drop of natural sunlight in our eyes is what stimulates the pineal gland in our brain to release melatonin at night, so we sleep. But we either don't make it because we're not out enough in the sun, or we're wearing sunglasses, or we don't release it because we have all this unnatural light exposing our eyes in the evening. But additionally, as we get older, like anything else, we just don't make it as well. We don't make as much. So melatonin does a lot of really cool things. And there's all this research that finds, if you go to PubMed.gov and you start looking at melatonin, you'll find thousands of articles about melatonin and all the things that it does. One thing it does is it decreases these inflammatory markers that go up when we develop belly fat. And so it acts as a powerful natural antioxidant, and we call it a free radical scavenger. So it scavenges, or it gets rid or neutralizes the free radicals that cause all the degenerative changes in our bodies, from arthritis to cancer to heart disease and everything. So it neutralizes those effects. It reduces the risk of dementia. We talked about this a few weeks ago, because when you have melatonin, it helps the natural channels of getting rid of bad things into the brain to remove it from the brain. So, and this happens during deep sleep. So you think of dirt and debris in your brain cells, and how does the body get rid of that? Well, it happens in deep sleep. Melatonin stimulates that process. Good hydration, lots of water, especially the right type of water, not chlorinated water out of the faucet, but healthy water can also help to remove the debris and these nasty substances from our brain cells. So it's a well-documented correlation with reducing the risk of dementia, is having plenty of melatonin. We also have seen studies where melatonin deficiency or low levels is associated with cognitive impairment in type 2 diabetics. Type 2 diabetics are sort of the prototype of what oxidative stress looks like and inflammation looks like. And melatonin acts to help reduce that inflammatory effect and helps to improve cognition. We also know that when melatonin levels drop, our appetite goes up and our sleep is impaired. So we need it for that reason. We also know, this is an interesting one for the female listeners, especially those who are going through menopause. When women go through menopause, they make less estrogen. That's why they start to have all these changes. And one of the things that happens is then they have night sweats and hot flashes, and they don't get good quality sleep. And when they don't get good quality sleep, they're not getting deep sleep, their appetite goes up, their insulin resistance goes up. So this is sort of in this pathway of why these women gain weight during menopause. one of many reasons is the lack of melatonin. They're not getting good sleep. But we have to fix the sleep disorder by fixing the hot flashes and night sweats. And we do that safely with estradiol, not the synthetic estrogens that can be harmful, but the estrogens that your body makes. There's an interesting one that it's actually worked for me because I've recently, since I learned about this, I've increased my melatonin dose at night. I was taking 1 milligram, I went up to 3, and then eventually now I'm taking 6 milligrams. And I sleep much better and I stay asleep. My acid reflux is gone. And then I found this multiple studies that say melatonin helps to reduce the hydrochloric acid in the stomach, and it increases the bicarbonate in your intestinal tract. So it diminishes the effect of acid reflux. It's amazing. There's all these things. Melatonin activates killer T cells in our immune system. Killer T cells, when they're activated, they go out and find cancer cells and destroy them. So they destroy cancer and they enhance our immunity. So it also, many studies have suggested that optimal melatonin helps to reduce blood pressure, helps to reduce migraine headaches, improves balance and equilibrium, especially as you get older and you're starting to, be a little off kilter and off balance. And it may even slow the process of the graying of hair. So all of these things that we talked about melatonin before, but there's all these studies now that say, here's all the things that can help you with. So again, I want to tell your listeners, anybody over the age of 55 probably needs melatonin unless they're just really good sleepers. Mm-hmm. But by the time we're 55, most of us don't make the levels that we made when we were younger. You think of a teenager that can sleep 12 hours or a child that sleeps a long period of time. It's because they have melatonin, and they need melatonin to keep them in deep sleep so their bodies can heal, but mostly so their bodies can grow. Yeah. But once we're adults, we're not growing anymore, but we're healing. We're trying to heal all our cuts and aches and our bruises and our arthritis and all these other issues that develop during the day with repetitive type of injuries. And without deep sleep, it just doesn't heal as well. So this is a really powerful hormone that our brain makes, but we don't make it as much as we get older.
Is there a chance that if you're taking this as a supplement, can you overdo it and have too much?
You can. And 1% of people, they have the opposite effect. It keeps them awake. So 1% will have that, especially those who tend to be night owls. They're up late at night just by nature. You take melatonin, and it might just keep them awake longer. 1%. 10% of people will have really vivid dreams, and sometimes those dreams are disturbing. So they'll say, I can't take it because they're just too vivid. I definitely dream more, but I don't think it's vivid and they're not disturbing. And then some people will still be drowsy the next morning when they wake up. So the remedy there is either lower the dose or take it 1 or 2 hours before bedtime. I took mine last night right before bed, and maybe a half hour before bed, and it hadn't really kicked in yet. But if I take it an hour or two before bed, boy, I'm ready to go to sleep. I sleep well. I wake up in the morning and I feel rested. Today I feel really good with the sleep that I had last night. So, and most women need to start with probably a 1 milligram dose, and men start about 3 milligrams. And you just go up and up and up until you're getting the amount that you need to help you sleep. So it's anywhere for the typical person, it's anywhere from 1 to 30 milligrams. So it can go up quite a bit.
Have you had much occasion to, I don't know, that need a prescription, but to suggest this, I guess?
Oh, absolutely. There's so many people that have sleep disorders. Menopausal women have it primarily because of the night sweats and because without progesterone, they don't sleep well either. So they really struggle. Swing shift workers really struggle.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, I'd say the majority of people can't sleep because they've got too much on their mind. They go to bed at night, and they might be up, they might use the TV or their phone in bed as a distraction to quiet their mind down. But what that does is stimulates the mind, and it prevents melatonin release. So now they're turning the lights out at 11:30 thinking I should have been asleep a half an hour ago. And now everything's flipped on, and they can't stop thinking about the things they shouldn't have done today, yesterday, or they start worrying about tomorrow, and they get caught in this terrible, terrible loop. And these people often want sleeping pills, and I don't like sleeping pills because eventually they just don't work. And it's interesting that the pharmaceutical company got a hold of they started to see what melatonin naturally does, and they took the melatonin molecule and just put a little added a little chemical structure on it to basically create an invention that could be patentable, and they sell that as Rosarum. So Rosarum is a prescription sleep aid, almost the same as melatonin. You don't need that. You don't need to spend the money on that. Melatonin is much cheaper, but you want to get a high-quality melatonin, one that's micronized, meaning small particles that we can absorb. Nutriscriptives.com is where I get mine, and also Mako's in town. They carry the Nutriscriptive brand. So these are the ones that I recommend. Don't get them at a discount chain because they're probably not the quality you need.
So they're cutting it, and it's not going to work.
Pardon?
They're cutting it with something that's not going to work as well.
Yeah, it's just you want high quality products, as we've talked about this before. Anybody can put a capsule or a supplement on the market and put a nice label on it with a doctor's face and stethoscope and make it seem like it's a really good quality product, but that's not always the case. And a lot of people are disappointed. Oh, I've tried melatonin. Well, have you tried the high quality, the micronized, and have you upped the dose? Because if you don't get the right dose, it's not going to work. But if they'll do that, most people are going to be really happy with it.
Well, there you are, the multiple positive effects of melatonin, the natural hormone. So,
there you go. Yes, it's great.
Thanks, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Very well. Thank you.
Dr. Tim McKnight.